Hi, it's GadgetUK here again. This time just having a quick look back at the GBS-8220, the VGA Upscaler here. If you saw my video where I did the copper tape to the Famicom, 72 pin to 60 pin adapter, I'm going to do a similar thing. Going to put some copper tape on the underside of here. Now this is thanks to one of my subscribers. I'll put his name up here. He posted a comment saying you can use the copper tape, to fix or improve the video quality on one of these. Now it's pretty good, the video quality I get on this actually. Just occasionally I can find that you just get a bit of noise, and it's almost like if you think of a TV, if you think of watching a TV over RF in the old days, and just occasionally you just get a bit of an interference where you get some like a shimmering or something, or some lines or something, just you can just see some interference just for several seconds, then it fades out like something in the nearby vicinity has been interfering with it. It's that sort of thing, but it hardly ever happens, but it does, it's there, but it's not that noticeable, but it does happen. So I thought, well, let's give it a go, let's try. Now I couldn't read the thread because it was the original thread where the chaps who worked this out, because it was a German forum I think, but from what I can gather on the Atari Edge forum, someone said you just got to put the copper tape over the underside of the board between the RAM and this chip here. I think that's just a ROM down there. Yeah, and there's no connectivity. So if you look, the large chip sort of sits here, and then your RAM is there, just where those load of wires are there, so that's where the RAM is. And as you can see, we've got some quite long traces here. There's also some really long traces down here, and one or two long traces there as well. So I think what I'm going to do is put some copper tape that way and try and cover all of those traces. I might even double it up, and then just ground it to the nearest grounding point, which should be easy to work out. I mean, you can use, if you look here, you've got these where the connectors and things are, the shielding for those are going to be grounds, and there's quite a few. So it should be straightforward to do. So that's all I'm going to do is just whiz this apart, put some tape on. I'll show you the process actually, because that was one thing I didn't do with the Famicom cart there, is show you that you need to smooth it. It's got to be flat, because I think initially one person tested it, just took the tape on, and it was quite rippled, and it didn't work very well. It worked okay for some things, but not others. I said, "Are you sure you flattened it down?" He's like, "Okay, I'll reapply it." So he put some more on, flattened it down, and then it was okay. So problem solved. So, and it's important obviously, because if you've got like a 1/4 millimetre ripple in this, it's not going to be, it's not as near to the traces, and that's the whole thing. It's got to be as flat and as near to the traces as possible. Anyway, so I'll get the screws out of this and I'll stick the tape on. So I've started with a piece that size actually. Instead of making it continuous and going all the way across here, I'll put a separate piece, just a separate small piece over there, because you've got some solder points here, and whilst the underneath of this is let's say insulated, if you're smoothing it down, it's going to be quite hard with those solder points there. So it's probably better just to do that, and they can just they've got to make sure you don't get it too close, because what you don't want is the overhang edge touching the solder point there, and it's the same on this side. So I just have to get it bang in the middle like that there, I think. Yeah, that should be okay. So let's remove the backing. Stick it on. Now it does curl, this tape, when you try and stick it down to start with this, or I'll take the backing off at least. So I need to get fairly close there, like that. That's right, but we're not touching. And then it's just a case of sticking it down. Yeah, it's not quite as straight as I would like that actually. Let's just see if we can reapply that a little bit. That's better. Yeah, and then it's a case of just using a nail or something here, or even just a piece of kitchen. Oh, that's probably going to work just as well. Just to press it down like that and make sure you get it as smooth as possible. See, like these ripples here, that's what you don't want, because it's not close enough to the PCB. It wants to be very linear, as level as possible. But as you can see, with a bit of effort here, well, no effort really, just a bit of patience, and you can get it completely flat. That's it. There's a bit of sticky stuff there where the tape was on the thing, holding it onto the spool, you know, I've got a bit of a tape just so I can catch the edge, you know, find where the edge of the tape is. So I'll just wipe that with some IPA. But as you can see, it's pretty flat, that, and as you rotate, you can see the outline of the traces. Can you see that underneath? So you know you've got it dead flat when you can see the underlying traces, and that's what you want. You want it as near and as flat as possible. Let's just get that sticky stuff off there. There we go. So I just need to join that up with a wire now to the nearest ground. Yeah, so in terms of a nearby ground, we've got some points here that are very nearby. It looks like this whole piece here is grounded, so we can probably just scratch off a bit of the solder mask here. I don't really like using a meter probe for this. I should be using a screwdriver or something really, because I'll blunt the end of my probe. Let's just test that. I'll test between one of the VGA connector edges. Yeah, absolute dead short. So I could just solder that overhang and we should be done. Tell you what, let me get a bit of flux on there. It's always a good idea actually, just to get a bit of dedicated, you know, separate flux, because even with solder containing flux, you find sometimes it's quite hard to solder onto something like that. But that now, there you go, should make a really good join. We can just test that again with a meter to make sure we've got, I'll see if I can show you this, we've got a connection. If we put it on the, you can see we've got the negative there. There you go, it's grounded. So the other piece I'm going to stick about here. I might just cut the one edge of that down actually, it's a little bit uneven. But yeah, just over these, the long traces here. There we go, it's not too bad. So we can do the same thing again. This whole area here is grounded. So I think I'll just scratch a little point there. Again, I'll do exactly the same thing, tiny bit of flux. It doesn't need much at all, that. There we go, that will do it I think. Just put a tiny bit more on. That's it. So just test continuity and then I'll clean that flux off, reassemble, and see what difference that makes. I might not show you because there's probably going to be nothing to see. Yeah, we've got short there, short there, short there, that's all good. Do you know what, I thought while we're here I'll extend it, put another piece here, because you can just about see underneath, I forget on the right light, the traces extend, you know, there's like a block of them that's an angle, line just comes down here, so that some of them extend to here, and the longer ones sort of extend right down to here. So yeah, and I've just joined it up, so that should be okay now. So all reassembled there, let's give that a try. So that's made a huge amount of difference actually for me. I don't know, you can see, you know, you get the different colour banding sort of thing going on here. That is an awful lot more regular than it was. They were kind of varied before, and like I say, I didn't capture it, but just occasionally you just see like a little bit of noise coming down the display like you sort of thing you would get if you were watching an RF signal, and then it would just disappear and be totally crystal clear. Now it just remains crystal clear. So yeah, I would recommend doing that mod if you're going to use a GBS-8220 for Atari ST or an Amiga. Yeah, do that mod. Also add that 22 microfarad tantalum as well. I think I might have posted the link to that in the previous video when I did the upscaler work there on the Amiga. Thanks for watching, I'll see you soon.